Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK, WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, checking out the series. You know what to do. Like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones at iTunes and Apple Podcasts, at Spotify and Podchaser, NPR, WFPK.org, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, Kimiko Glenn. We're going to be talking about the new Disney Channel animated series called Kiff. We're going to, of course, talk about cartoons as well. This one, as she'll tell you, has a bit of a nostalgic look to it, the 2D look that's reminiscent of some of our favorites from back in the day, especially sort of the weirder ones like Ahh Real Monsters and Rocko's Modern Life. You know, as I got a little Ren and Stimpy over my shoulder right here. So we're going to talk about cartoons. We're also going to talk about music. You know, Kimiko got her big start, her big break was in the original Broadway cast of Waitress. So of course we're going to talk about the songs of this series, and she's going to tell us about some of her most early inspirations. In fact, she's talked about Celine Dion quite a bit in some other interviews. We're going to hear about some of the other ones as well. Some that might be surprising to you, maybe not. And Kimiko's also part of the ginormous cast of every funny person in existence right now that is in History of the World Part 2. So I want to ask about that as well. So let's get into it and talk about Kiff, out now on Disney Channel. It's Kyle Meredith with Kimiko Glenn. First off, it's so great to meet you on here. I've been such a fan of what you're doing. This new series, Kiff, has been so much fun to watch. And everything that's going on. I don't want to put words. What can you tell us about this one? How would you set this one up?
Well, it's a story about a squirrel named Kiff, and the creators are South African, and it's basically based on their adventures in South Africa and Cape Town. And Kiff actually in South African means cool. South African made it sound like a language, but yeah, but it's basically her adventures with her friend Barry, who's a bunny, and they're both young and excited, have a zest for life. I mean, in the first episode, you hear Kiff talk about, her thirst for life, and to be doing things, and yeah, that's kind of her to a T. She's very she's down. She's down to do whatever and down to like go full throttle into anything. And her friend Barry is like the loyal sidekick, kind of goobery, very squishy, and you love to love him.
Yeah. As soon as I started watching it, like I'm thinking of some of my favorite shows that I grew up on, even the ones that came a little bit later, like Rocko's Modern Life came to
Totally.
mind. Even a little, like my favorite stuff. I've got Ren and Stimpy over my shoulder here. It was the weird sort of cartoons, even if
Yeah.
they weren't that bizarre, that like this feels like it sort of plays into it. And it's been a little renaissance. Like when you're thinking about a children's show, but you get to play around with it like that. I mean, does that give it a little bit something extra?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's cool is when I saw the drawings for it, I'm like, oh, this is like nostalgic to me. This is like reminiscent of things that I used to watch as a kid, and that kind of like 2D kind of illustration. Now everything feels a little computer generated and three-dimensional and like kind of an odd way. And what I love most about the show is that it is so weird. It's like a totally like a high concept, weird show that I think like adults are going to have a hard time not watching with their children. It's technically children's programming because like there are no curse words or like it's just good, clean fun, but it's so actually laugh out loud funny. Which is why I've been like so excited for this to come out, and I can't wait that
Yeah.
it's here now.
What were some of those shows for you?
Oh, I mean, I loved like Looney Tunes, that sort of thing. The Road Runner and the what was it? I forget what.
Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Ahh Real Monsters, I loved.
Mm,
Rugrats. I mean, there were
mhm.
so many kind of like interesting cartoons like that I used to love.
Yeah, and this really does kind of call back to that side of things. I mean, you're
Yeah.
you're completely right about that. And then, so of course, you play the lead character here with Kiff.
Yeah.
Um, when you're like, what is your process when you get a role like this? I mean, do you come up with the voice? Do you find the character? I mean, how does it work? Maybe differently than on screen as real person.
Yeah, what's so funny about a lot of this voice work is I always try and put on like kind of an accent or like some weird voice, but then ultimately a lot of times they just sort of guide me back to my own voice. So like some version of my own voice, and I'm like, huh, interesting. So I sound like a cartoon to you? And turns out I do. But yeah, so Kiff is very much a part of me. She has more of like a musicality and rhythm to her more than like a different voice. Um, and I think I enjoy playing that a lot because it just feels like I'm a kid again. You know, every time I go into the booth, I feel like I'm just playing, like I'm just like a kid in a sandbox and having so much fun.
Yeah. Do you at the same time do you keep the character, like the image of the character in your mind as you're doing? Does it work like that?
I mean, always, yeah. I mean, as soon as you have the actual image of the character, because sometimes you don't see it for a while and then they show you. But thankfully, they had it like at the start. And so it really feeds into how you play it. And, you like, I had like an early sketches or like animatics for it, like probably just a few months into recording, and it was super helpful and also helpful in the sense that it helped me believe in the show because I was like, wait, this show is so funny. And when you know that you're part of something great, it just makes it all the more joyful. And yeah, we just got really creative with it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the musicality, and there are songs in every episode. I know I've seen the three that they've sent us so far,
Yeah.
and these are fun. And you've got the Broadway background and everything. I mean, again, I'm sure this all seems natural to you, but I would love to hear about that side of things because now you have the songs. You've got to sing, but it's still sort of in a character, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is an aspect of this is like some of the songs, like you get them and you're like, oh, I'd sing it this way, but it's not about how I'd sing it, it's about how Kiff would sing it. So it's kind of an interesting balance to strike, but they write the songs for this character. So it's yeah, it's fun. It's very similar to the theatrical side of things, the musical side of things, because that's what I'm used to,
Mhm.
and that's what I have so much fun doing. That's like what I have the most fun doing is singing. So being able to do that and incorporate that into a project that I already think is so cool. So Kiff, if you will, is like the joy of my life. I don't
I
know.
wrote down the sing along song from the road trip
Oh my
became
gosh.
sort of an instant favorite. But
Yeah.
are there the songs on here that you're like, this is like there it seems like there's so much range to play and be outrageous with this character. Like, are there specific songs that kind of fuel that a little bit more?
Totally. I mean, like, it's not like Kiff is in a specific genre of music. Kiff is like all genres, spans and straddles all genres of music. And I think that's what makes her like all the more three-dimensional as a character. What fills out like the story so much is that it's like the music just lends itself to the story. And it's not about like creating hits, it's about like moving the story along in the best way possible. And also, like, there's always a hilarious element to it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I know, I mean, you've got that singing background. That said, I've watched some of the interviews, and you talked about especially mimicking Celine Dion
Yes,
when you were young.
yes,
I think that's become a great part of your story right there. But,
yes.
but who else? Because I've seen that one a few times. But who else were you doing back then? Because you were pretty young, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So she was the first album I ever got. So that's basically like why she's like the one. And like I think sort of because she's so entertaining, just listening to her, she just like makes such weird, bold choices. I was like obsessed with imitating, which kind of helped me in my acting. It sort of like got me interested in the comedic aspect of acting. But when it comes to other musical inspirations, like I was obsessed with Lea Salonga. She is a huge Broadway star who, like, kind of at the time was like maybe one of the only Asian leading females. Um, Gorgeous voice of an angel. Liz Calloway. Like there are just so many people. I was obsessed with Shania Twain for a while. When I was going through my like low voice phase where I was like, I gotta work on my low voice. But yeah, those were some of my inspirations and only some of them. Karen Carpenter, like there were so many inspirations growing up. I'd be here all day naming them.
Yeah. Shania's back too. She's got that new record.
Oh yeah, and I
Yeah.
can't wait because I'm seeing her in a couple months at the Hollywood Bowl.
Are you? You get
Yeah,
to go.
yeah,
Oh, right.
got my
That's good.
tickets. Yeah.
Um, but have you met Celine yet? Have you had that opportunity to?
No, but I did see her in Vegas, and I was like front row center, just like, and all her like background singers saw me because I was like on the same side of the stage as her, just like living my life. They were just laughing at me, and one of them DM'd me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm that much closer to Celine." But yeah, I'm not the type of person who like knows how to make those things happen. I'm a little too like embarrassed to be like, I love you. But yeah, just being able to see her perform was just like so wonderful. And in Vegas, it's like surround sound. It's full on when it's Vegas. So that
Sure.
was pretty epic.
Sure. Which and just one more thing on the music too. I think I remember reading that you were a Regina Spektor fan too, and she's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
Just
big.
incredible. Yeah.
She's like my favorite like recording artist probably of all time. Just
Yeah.
with everything. I don't know. I could talk about her for ages. And she's the sweetest.
Well, you've got a great series here with Kiff. I know you've got other things going on. Did I see you were in History of the World Part 2?
It was the quickest yes I've ever said. It's Mel Brooks. He was like one of my idols as a kid. Like in middle school, my friends and I were obsessed with him. We watched all his stuff. Tried to make our own kind of Mel Brooksian type movies. We would write scripts and stuff. They're probably really funny. We need to dig those up. But anyway, it was like the thrill of my life to be doing that. And I went to the premiere earlier this week. And it's pretty odd that it's going to be seen on a small screen, like on Hulu, because it felt so big watching it like in the theaters. Like everyone in it is so legitimate and so cool that every appearance is like, ah, like so cool. It's like all the funny people in LA. So it's like a real, true honor for me to be doing it. You can't.
It really seems like all the funny people in the world. What a humongous cast to be a part of.
Yeah.
It's insane. And to be a part of a legacy like that.
Yeah.
But back to it at hand. Again, Kiff is so much fun. I cannot wait to see more of this. Congratulations on all of your continued success. And thanks so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Of course. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.